double blooming hibiscus, marked down to just $29.99. Your fall starts at Bob Wine, so hurry on over to Southeast 38th Street in Ocala. Daily till 4, Saturdays till 3, and the same blooming place since 1952.
September 21st. September 21st. Why do I keep repeating September 21st? Because that's when the Ocala residents have the privilege of helping determine how Ocala is governed. By voting, Ocala residents then have a voice in local issues. Every vote matters. Voting is a privilege. It's also your responsibility. If you don't vote, you give up the right to complain about the outcome. So what are you going to be doing on September 21st? You're going to go out and vote September 21st. The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, Sunday mornings at 8 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new truck.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back on a Tuesday morning. You know, we talked about sports before with Galen, but now we know the serious subject. And I'm going to tell you something that I think a lot of you probably know, but just don't think about very often. And that is lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death in the United States. For those grappling with one particular form of this of cancer, specifically KRAS G12C mutated non-small cell lung cancer, decades of scientific research had no targeted treatment options have existed. Until now. Joining us live to explain the critical importance of comprehensive biomarker testing at diagnosis of advanced NSCLC and how the results can help guide personalized treatment is Dr. Martin Dietrich. He's partnered with Amgen to talk to us today. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Tom. Thank you for having me.
What is this particular form of lung cancer that we're talking about, and how common is it?
Tom, as you know, lung cancer is the major cancer burden. We have about 230,000 cases a year, and 1 in every 8 of them is mutated in KRAS G12C. So about 30 to 40,000 cases a year that we're seeing with this specific mutation.
What is this mutation? What makes it different from other lung cancers?
Well, think about KRAS. And the mutation in KRAS is the engine that drives this particular kind of lung cancer. So it's the underlying cause that transforms a healthy lung cell into a lung cancer cell. And by now having these targeted therapies available, we're actually able to specifically target the genetic cause of the underlying transformation from healthy cancerous.
Is there a way for a lung cancer patient to find out if what their KRAS G12C status is? Basically, do they have the mutated gene? Is there a way for them to find that out?
Well, Tom, it's very important to talk to your healthcare provider and medical oncology team, the cancer team up front, about doing this testing. KRAS is the most frequent, but there are many, many other mutations as well. So you really need to test for all of them to have all the options on the table and to map out the best treatment plan for a lung cancer journey that is really, really important for treatment. And asking about it is vital. We can do these tests in a number of ways. And they really need to be on the table. They're really part of the diagnosis. By understanding the cancer, we know how to fight it better and how to make patients live longer and better.
I hear people say all the time, but I don't worry about lung cancer because I don't smoke and I don't work in an environment where there's pathogens that could cause lung cancer. When you hear that, it makes me cringe because lung cancer can strike anybody. It doesn't just have to be somebody who's a heavy smoker or somebody who's been exposed for long periods of time to pathogens. Lung cancer can strike anybody, correct?
That is correct, Tom. Especially in women, we see about 15 to 20% of lung cancer cases that are happening in non-smokers. And the biology is very different. We see different mutations. KRAS happens to occur more frequently in smokers. And we've had kind of an underdeveloped research there because we always had the stigma of lung cancer. It's really important that we approach lung cancer like we do every other cancer with a clear and open mind and defining it to the best extent that we can on the molecular level so that we can provide patients with the best possible outcome.
Let's talk about biomarker testing. How can a patient undergo that type testing, and what are some of the questions they should ask when they're getting their test results?
So after lung cancer diagnosis has been confirmed, this is typically done by a biopsy with a needle biopsy or an excisional biopsy. You can run additional genetic testing on that biopsy. If that is not feasible, you can actually also look at the genetic material that the tumor sheds into the bloodstream. It's kind of a waste product that we're harvesting for analysis. So we have multiple ways of doing it. It can be done in every office, anywhere in the country, and the information is typically available within a week to 10 days. So it's a very efficient process of getting all the information on the table. Now, once that report comes back, it's an in-depth discussion. I mean, we have chemotherapy, we have immunotherapy, now we have these targeted therapies like Lumakras. So we really want to map out for the patient which therapy modality fits them individualized. We want to really get away from one size fits all and tailor and individualize to each patient and each patient's situation, and also expectations. What do they want from treatment? What are their hopes? What are their other medical problems? So knowing that molecular profile, in addition to knowing the patient, is really the best way of having that discussion with your healthcare provider about finding the optimal treatment course.
How good is it nowadays that we have more options than just the chemotherapy? 40 years ago, you got cancer, you got chemotherapy. The chemotherapy poisoned everything in your body, and you fought through it or you didn't fight through it. But now there's so many other options besides chemotherapy. What does that say for the advancement of technology in the research of lung cancer?
Well, I mean, we really went to the bottom of it. When I started, treatment for lung cancer with chemotherapy extended life by 2-3 months. Now sometimes we see patients live 5 years or more, so that's no longer impossible. And at some point, I think we'll have lung cancer as a survivable disease. But every step we take into understanding lung cancer better, using molecular profiling, using biomarker testing, gets us one step closer away from chemotherapy towards more specific therapies.
Why is the biomarker treatment so significant?
Well, it's again, this is really the move from the microscope that defined lung cancer for us 40 years ago to really getting to the bottom, to the explanation of where this lung cancer originated and what genetic and molecular changes are driving this lung cancer. So by understanding it, it helps us fight it better. And having this biomarker testing is really the way of getting to the best answers for patients.
Is there is this something we should ask? When is it we should start asking our doctor? Because communication with your doctor is key. When is it we should start asking our doctor to look at maybe the possibility of our lungs or something. Like, I'm 55 years old. I grew up with two parents who kept the windows rolled up in the car all the time as they smoked 3 packs a day. I grew up in a time where nobody thought secondhand smoke was that big a deal. But I've never, that I know of, I've never had a doctor say, well, we checked you for cancer and you don't have any. Is that something you can ask your doctor about, or is that one of the, so you can be more proactive?
So, Tom, there's actually a new screening recommendation, similar like we do mammograms and colonoscopies for breast and colon cancer. There are now these CT scans, these low-dose CT scans that can be done in patients at risk for lung cancer. Those are patients over 50 that had a certain amount of smoking exposure in their life. That's an individualized discussion with your primary care physician, but certainly lung cancer can be screened, and we know detecting it early is obviously the best way. Unfortunately, lung cancer, without specifically looking for it, doesn't have any early warning signs and is typically diagnosed in locally advanced and metastatic settings, which is why biomarker testing and systemic therapy that reaches every part of the body is still the mainstay of therapy for most patients, unfortunately. But screening definitely has a role and should be discussed when you have a history of smoking or other risk factors that may predispose you.
Talking with Dr. Martin Dietrich. Doctor, where can people go to get more information on KRAS G12C and or biomarker testing? Where can they go find out more information?
There are numerous information pieces. The NCI, obviously, you can go to the product-specific site, lumacraft.com, that has the information about the clinical trials and the impact it has for patients. So those would be the resources that I would recommend. You have to be always careful what you read online, but those are vetted websites that are approved by the FDA. And I think are safe for patients to go to learn more about the KRAS G12C subtype of non-small cell lung cancer. Dr.
Martin Dietrich, thanks so much for taking some time out with us this morning to talk to us about the lung cancer. It's the number one killer, and people need to understand that. Thanks, doctor.
I appreciate you, Tom. Thank you for having me.
That's Dr. Martin Dietrich talking about lung cancer and a specific type, KRAS G12C, and the new technology that they have now to help fight that. Coming up after the break, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin is in the building for In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. She'll take your questions, your calls on anything that you grow in your garden, or your grass, or your flower beds, or your flower pots, or the trees in your yards, or those vines that you don't realize, how do I get those out of my bushes? They keep showing back up even though I cut them. We'll ask Carol Ann that. She'll have answers for it, or she'll tell you where to go find answers. We'll do that next right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Over the years, 780 prisoners have passed through Guantanamo Bay. Many of the remaining 39 are entering their second decade in the East Cuban detention facility. They were labeled enemy combatants without rights. The only time frame for their release, if ever, Dick Cheney said, the end of the War on Terror, which officially is still going on. Tuesday, after a 17-month pause, the pre-trial hearings for Mohammed and 4 others are set to resume just days ahead of the anniversary of the attack. The military commissions resumed hearing in May, and Biden has sought quietly to release those not facing trial. The city of Portland, Oregon announced it intends to ban trade and travel to the state of Texas in response to the state's new heartbeat abortion law. Mayor Wheeler announced the city council intends to vote on an emergency resolution on Wednesday to stop the city's future procurement of goods and services and travel to the state of Texas. USA Radio News.
Nielsen says more than 30 million Americans are now tuning in to Newsmax TV. It's one of the biggest media stories. Newsmax is available on all major cable systems. And if you cut the cord and don't get cable, you can still get Newsmax. Find it on your smart TVs like Samsung, LG, and more. Just go to your smart TV channel guide or download the free Newsmax app. Newsmax also streams free on Roku, Xumo, Pluto, Amazon Fire, or TiVo. And 7 million people have the Newsmax app on their smartphone. It takes seconds to download it on your phone, and there's no paywall or subscription. So watch Newsmax for breaking news, anytime, anywhere. President Trump says Newsmax is really good, and Forbes calls Newsmax a news powerhouse. Find out why tens of millions of Americans are watching Newsmax TV and going to Newsmax.com for breaking news. It's a source you can trust. Newsmax is real news for real people.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. The Peanut Stocks and Processing Report has been issued by USDA. This is for the 12th month, with July completing the year. They said peanut stocks and commercial storage right now, 1.97 billion pounds overall. That compares to 2.21 billion last year, and that is down 7.1%. There was also some farmer stock peanuts in there. That's down 5.9. Shell peanuts on hand, 656 million pounds. That's down 8.6%. Roasted stocks were down 15%. Overall, edible stocks of shell goods showed Virginias and Valencias